It was a cold winter day when I just landed here, trying to catch up with my friends for a coffee. When one of my friends showed me her phone and gave me a news that changed my life forever. A friend of mine committed suicide. I was in disbelief. I told my friends there was no way it could happen. And whoever made this up was either insane or a total jerk. Still, they insisted that I check with other people. So I made a few phone calls, and it was confirmed. My friend was an amazing person who has the warmest heart and the brightest mind that I've ever encountered. But she could not see that herself. She was struggling with low self-esteem, feeling unwanted and lonely. She was always insecure with how she looked, thinking she did not have the right look for this society. And even though she had a lot of friends, she could not trust anyone because some of her friends only caught up with her when they needed to borrow her money. Another friend stopped her in the back because they wanted her job. It left her all confused and wondering what she had done wrong that people treat her that way. It even worse when it came to intimate relationships. She had this thought that everybody will eventually leave, even before she started one. My friend left this overcrowded work because she thought she was all by herself. So, this speech is not only for my beloved friend, but also for people who are fighting with depression. I love you. Your family loves you. Your friends love you. But the most important thing is you gotta love yourself too. We all have heard about the importance of loving yourself in order to improve self-confidence, personal relationships, and life qualities. However, loving yourself is a very general and vague idea that everyone knows what it is about, but not a lot of us can generate the specific step of how to achieve this goal. So I would like to present to you 3 things that I've been working on to cut down my negative thoughts about myself, which are: make peace with your past, be kind to yourself, and be united with other people. So, how do you make peace with your past? You make peace with your past by validating all the pain that you endured, embracing all the dark sides you've been trying to deny. Many studies suggested that we've been living in a culture that values emotion suppression because it promotes social harmony. Since we were kids, many of us were always expected to be well-behaved and emotionally balanced, even when your brain was not fully developed and you were not shown how to regulate your emotions efficiently. I was one of you too. I was taught that crying, sadness, and fear were signs of weakness. Panic, anger, and rage were inappropriate. Everything would be okay, and I would be accepted if I did not have, or at least were able to hide these feelings, acting like nothing was wrong, even when the world went upside down. On the process of pretending like nothing mattered, I didn't matter. I even shamed myself if I had these feelings and tried so hard to suppress my feelings until I felt completely numb and blank. For most of the time, I looked so relaxed and cheerful, but there was always this empty feeling inside, and my chest was physically heavy. This type of behavior happened too often to the point when it became one of my defense mechanisms, which was repression that I used to escape from unpleasant events and emotions unconsciously. It was designed to protect me from the pain. I wanted to be seen and heard, but I was the one who covered my own eyes and ears. But since I was unable to express and make sense of how I felt, I was always enraged. I had angry outbursts all the time and put it onto people around me, making them hurtful and confused. At the same time, I did everything I could to show that I was tough by acting like I did not care about anyone, so no one, or even me, could see my vulnerability. But the more I treated people badly, the worse I felt about myself. It became a never-ending toxic cycle that I was the one who kept it going. I tried to show the world that I was something, but deep down, I believe I was nothing. I carry all kinds of emotions like shame, anxiety, defensiveness, disappointment almost every day. I felt everything and nothing at the same time. Then one day, I met my now life partner. She had the purest soul that I have ever met. She trusted me and loved me wholeheartedly. But once again, I hurt her badly. I was so ashamed of myself, so afraid of being a disappointment, that I didn't have the courage to say that I was sorry. Still, she decided to stay, and I continued to act like nothing happened, trying to neglect her pain to comfort myself. Until one day, she told me, "I know you're a good person, but you're lost, and I will help you." She left the next day without any notice. I called her, but there was no answer. I called my friends, but they did not know where she was. She just vanished. By no surprise, I was intensely angry. Is this how you're gonna help me? Why are you doing this to me? But feelings comes and goes, so did my anger. I became worried. Is she safe? And then hopeless. This event pushed me to reconnect with myself. I spent days and nights thinking about what I did, what caused me to be the way I did, why I was always angry, why I always hurt people around me. I wrote them all down, all the pain that people caused me and all the pain that I caused people. How each of these events made me feel. Finally, she came back and we talked. but it was not like our usual talks. We told each other everything that we've been through. Not only the pain, but also the shitty things that we did. By validating all the pain that we endured and embracing all the dark sides that we tried to deny, we were able to understand that it is not because we are unworthy. It is not because that we're unlovable that people cheated the way they did, but because they were treated the way that made them feel like they were unworthy and abandoned too. So, my partner did help me in a very extreme way, but somehow it worked. The second thing I've been working on is to be kind with myself by letting go negative self-talk. Negative self-talk is an internal dialogue that you have with yourself. It criticizes either your appearance or things that you do, telling you that you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not pretty enough. It even predicts how things are going to be for you, often in negative outcomes, even though you don't know what future brings. And day by day, it sabotages your self-esteem, your relationships, and eventually your life. So where does it come from? I'm not speaking for everyone, but as for me, it comes from constantly comparing myself to others and the fear of being a disappointment. Many of us were raised with the belief that we're only good if we get high scores in school. If we're successful, often measured by, financial capability and social status. We are evaluated by how we look, the clothes we wear, the money we make, even the likes we got on social media. I was caught in this false belief too. I constantly compared myself to others, but there were always people with higher scores, with better outlook, and make way more money. So I constantly felt like I wasn't good enough. In addition to that, comparing myself to others made me lose my sense of purpose because I was chasing the wrong values. My negative self-talk also came from the fear of being disappointment, one of the negative emotions that I tried to avoid for so many years. So in order not to be disappointed, I prepare myself with all the reasons why things are not gonna work out. So in the end, if they really fell apart, I will not be disappointed. For example, when I studied for an exam, I would tell myself that I was stupid, so I would not be able to pass the exam. Then, when I did fail the exam, it would not make me feel like I'm a failure, because I already was. But what I did not realize was, because I told myself that I was stupid and not gonna pass the exam anyway, so I did not work hard for it. And as the result, I failed the exam. Things start again and repeated themselves. I actually believed all these negative self-talks and became hopeless because if I were good for nothing, if I had no meaning life purpose, then would it matter if I'm not here anymore? So, how did I stop this behavior? To be honest, I haven't completely stopped at it because it was my learned behaviors in my earliest year that I was not able to get rid of. But there is also another behavior that I was able to learn in my later years, which is being mindful with my thoughts. not just the negative ones, but all of them. Practicing mindfulness on a daily basis helped me realize a thought is just a thought. It comes and goes. It doesn't necessarily have to be true, or you have to believe in it. What we do about it is what matters. When I was invited to speak at this event, I had so many doubts in myself. I'm not as smart as people that were on TED before. I'm not some kind of successful CEO. I ain't got any wisdom or knowledge to share. I was trying really hard to put in big ideas and finding things that I thought people would want to hear. Because deep down, I'm still this insecure person who longs for validation and recognition. And as the day got closer, I even thought to myself, fuck it, I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm not gonna put any effort in this speech anymore. I'm just gonna give them whatever, and if they laugh about it, so be it. I'm not so proud of myself anyway. But I did not dwell on these thoughts, because I know these are just thoughts, not facts. I let them go and found the real reason why I wanted to do this. And with this purpose, I was willing to try really hard. And if the only thing I get back is disappointment, it will be okay too. Because I do know one thing, if I continue to do what I used to do, the only thing I get back will be disappointment. But if I try my best and put myself out there, well, it can be disappointment, which I'm willing to face, or something else that I don't know yet. Being able to face one of my biggest fears, disappointment, sets me free and welcomes me to the future. The last thing I want to talk about is to be united with other people. To be honest, I was quite struggling trying to explain this idea to other people because, again, it's also very general and abstracted. And let's face it, like connecting with other people was never my strength. But then I realized, if I can make peace with my past, I'm already one step closer to being united with others. By accepting who I was, then I was able to understand people around me. We all have experienced traumas. We all have felt unloved. We all have done things that we're not so proud of. We are much more alike than we think we are. We are not alone. For a long time, I was very selfish and was unable to put myself in other people's shoes. I was not kind to myself, so I became cruel to the whole world. I always thought the baggage that I carry was the heaviest, without knowing that we were all carrying our own baggage, including people who hurt us, especially my parents. I always thought they must have had everything figured out because they took care of me, but they haven't. They once were kids too. They were once bullied. They were once treated the way that made them feel like they were unworthy. They are also terrified of being a failure, that they have to pretend like they have everything under control and figure out so they don't disappoint their own kids, their partners, their parents, or themselves. They also carry their own baggage. The longer they live, the heavier the baggage. Because of the cumulative traumas that they've been through, because of this society's standards, And because they were so busy trying to survive and take care of the family, they were unable to unpack the baggage. So, as I unpacked mine, I was able to see theirs, which was invisible to me before. Then I started to notice other people's baggage too. I understand why some people are so grumpy and harsh, because they were so tired carrying the baggage for too long. I understand why some people cannot see possibilities or changes, because their baggage still holds them down, so they cannot stand straight and see things clearly for themselves. We don't have to agree with what they put us through, but rather understand where they came from. And from this understanding, we know that if someone has helped people who cause us pain to unpack their baggage, we wouldn't have suffered. And someone has helped us to unpack ours, others wouldn't have suffered. So be that someone, and no one would have suffered. Offer a helping hand if you see people in need. One by one, this generation to the next, slowly but surely, together, we can make this world a much better place to live in. But again, we can only be that someone by reversing what we tried to do for so many years, which is pretending like nothing mattered. We reverse it by making everything mattered. Depression comes from a Latin word, means to press down. So if you're struggling with depression, it means your body is telling you to stop pressing things down, stop ignoring, stop pretending, stop denying. Your needs matter. Your pain matters. Your feelings matter. Your happiness matters. Your hopes and dreams matter. You matter.